with the most recent update for Splatoon 3 and a brand new season dropping a few days ago with Chill Season 6.00. We got a bunch of new specials for weapons, and we got a bunch of new alternate kits and a few other new things to the game, at least balance-wise with weapons. So I figured it's time to do another weapons tier list. It's going to be a Splatoon 3 6.00 weapons tier list. Keep in mind it's going to be for a solo queue tier list, a non-competitive ranked solo queue tier list. This is going to be for your ranks from S tier all the way up until like your mid tier, like 2500, around there, like X rank mainly. That's what this list is going to be for, so keep that in mind before we do get into this. And if you guys like these videos, so you guys keep showing support to the tier list videos. With every new season, I'll keep on bringing them your guys' way. They always do really well, so if you guys like them, I'll bring them your guys' way. Leave a like. If you're new, subscribe. I do a bunch of stuff over here on the channel, Splatoon stuff. Got a bunch of other content over on the channel. I stream 2 times a week, usually on Friday, Saturday nights. I also stream on Twitch. Watch other things and share the video. Really appreciate it. I also got channel members actually recently enabled on the channel, so if you guys would like to become a channel VIP, there's a join button down below. Click that button and you guys get a bunch of details. You get a bunch of cool perks like video shoutouts, emotes, badges, and a bunch of other things you guys can use when in the comments or even when I'm live. So, and all the support from that actually goes right back to the channel and helps upgrade the content and that type of stuff to continue to bring you guys really solid stuff, at least content-wise, in the near future. So, all the support's greatly appreciated as well. Whether or not you guys are VIPs or just watching the videos at all, it always just means a lot. So, and all the support's really good for the channel. That being said, I'll throw the list on screen for you guys right now. Just before I get into this, one thing I want to stress as well. Do not go into the comments without watching the entire video and making a fool of yourself like the last weapons tier list I did. I don't know how many people that went into the comments down below and they look like absolute idiots because I explained stuff in the video, and what they commented and the stuff they say in the comments I explain in the video and talk about clearly in the video, but they obviously did not watch the video. So do not be like them. Watch the entire video. I'm going to explain everything and go through everything, including all of the new weapons. Unfortunately, there's not a new tier list updated for 6.00, so I'm just going to have to edit in probably like the weapons or whatever when I talk about all the new alternate kits and everything and what they're going to be running and that type of thing. So I'll use the power of editing and video editing to throw that into the video for you guys. I will be talking about all the new alternate kits, the new specials, and that type of thing for the 6.00 weapons at the end of the video. We're going to go through all the other weapons though that are already in the game, because apart from that, there's a few things that changed, but apart from that, not really much has changed because we really didn't get any balance changes. We got 2 minor balance changes to like Reef Slider and then the 96 gal, and apart from that, we really didn't get anything that was really substantial. So a lot of the stuff is the same, but there's a few different things that kind of changed, so I'm going to talk about them, and then we'll go over all the new weapons at the end. So keep that in mind as well. Top right end of this, I should have the list on screen for you guys. If I don't, I'll throw it on screen for you guys right now. S tier is going to be stuff that is the best of the best weapons in the game. This is stuff you're going to want to be running. You can solo carry games with these weapons. These are probably the best of the best weapons. They have pretty much no drawbacks. There's nothing on their level, and they need some type of nerfs going forward to bring them in line with the rest of the game. S tier is your stuff that is like your top tier weapons, but they aren't necessarily like OP or broken. They have checks, but they're still like some of the best stuff in the entire game. A plus is your above average stuff. A is your average weapons, is where you want the majority of the game to be. For the majority of your players, you want everything to be around the average tier for average like viability. B tier is your below average. C is your more situational weapons. D is your borderline useless weapons. They only have maybe like 1 or 2 distinct things about them, or they're good on like 1 or 2 distinct maps, or with like certain stuff that's being played currently that makes them like being able to be played in those type of situations, but apart from that, they're pretty much useless. And then you have F tier, which is your throw pick tier. If you play any of these weapons in this tier, unless you're like a C or like up to like an A tier ranked player, you are legit throwing your ranked games. And if you're in my ranked games, I don't know about you guys, but I legit want people to uninstall. That if they're playing any of these type of weapons in my ranked games, S tier and above, please uninstall your game. Do not play any of these weapons. You are throwing the game, and you are making your teammates very, very angry at you because you're putting them at a 3-4 disadvantage, and they are automatically down one person with you playing any of these weapons, with how bad they are. These weapons need major buffs, or entirely like reworked kits or something about them to make them good, or they just need an entire new kit entirely with how bad they currently are. So that's F tier. Hop right into it. We got the Rapid Blaster. Rapid Blaster is not really much was changed with this thing. I'll put Rapid Blaster B tier. There's just no reason to play this thing. There's no reason to play this thing. Rapid Blaster or Rapid Blaster Pro. There's no reason to play this thing either. Where's the other Rapid Blaster? I might as well get all those out of the way. Got the Rapid Blaster Pro Deco. This thing is actually pretty good. I mean, if there's any Rapid Blaster you're playing right now, I think this is probably the one you're going to be playing, and then probably the custom Rapid Blaster. I'm going to probably put this one in like an A tier. I think that one, the Rapid Blaster Pro, the other one's actually probably average right now. Where's the other one with inkjet right here? I might as well put that back up here. I might as well do all the Rapid Blasters in the same time to get them out of the way. This one I'm probably going to put an A+ tier. The main reason is that this one actually has inkjet. Inkjet's probably one of the best specials in the game right now, which we'll talk about as the video goes on, like the best specials and what you kind of really want out of a weapon, to at least for like your solo queue play. Like your solo queues, you're going to be playing with random players, so you kind of want the solo carry potential, but at the same time, you still want to be taking advantage of like the best specials that are currently in the game before they get changed or stuff changes. So got the Clash Blaster, F tier. Nothing with this has changed since the last season. Still awful. I'm surprised they never buffed this thing. It needs major buffs or an entire rework. I don't know what they need to do with it to make it good, but garbage. Range Blaster, I'll put an A tier, A+ tier. I think it's really good right now. I think if the range blaster has seen a lot more play, especially over this past season. A lot more people are picking it up, and you're seeing a lot more. I think it's the main mode you're going to be seeing it in is towers, but you can also use it in a lot of other stuff. Like it's decent in clams. It depends on the map a little bit more on the other modes, but you can pick it up on pretty much any mode. If you're good with it, you can kind of make it work. The regular blaster, I'm going to put that also at an A tier. Not an A+, I'll put that in A tier. Just mainly for towers. I mean, you can use it in all the other modes too, but I think the main thing is towers, just because it has bubble, and you're able to throw the bubble on the tower and just get much value that way. And plus, we have 2 new maps in the game, and I think especially this blaster is really good on I think Bluefin Depot. I think is one of the new maps. And it's pretty good on this map, at least from what I've played. It's really, really good. Same with like the custom blaster, which we'll talk about at the end. I don't think it's as good as the regular blaster, just because you have bubble, which is way better in towers. I think the other one's a little bit better in the other modes, but we'll talk about it. Got the Luna Blaster. This thing's F tier. Nothing with this changed. Awful. Ink Brush. It's almost borderline useless. If clams was not a game mode in this game, you would never see the Ink Brush being played at all, and that's the only mode you're ever going to see it played in. If you're playing it in any other mode, you're throwing the game. Same with the Octo Brush. Even though I don't think the Octo Brush's kit's really that good. Goo Tuber, this thing's a meme, garbage, needs major buffs. The Bamboozler, man, was this a great weapon in Splatoon 2? I wish we can rewind and go back to those days. But the Bamboozler is fucking dead. Absolute dead weapon. One of the coolest weapons in the game, and they just never buff it, and by the time this thing gets a second kit, we'll be probably on Splatoon 5 at that point. E-Leaders. E-Leaders are good. I'm putting all the E-Leaders up to S tier. They're all going up, and the same with the Splatter Scopes and the Splatter Splat Chargers. Classic Squilfer, C tier. I wouldn't say it's useless, but you really need to know what you're doing to make it work. Dually Squelchers. And the Dually Squelchers are okay. They're not crazy, but I'll put them at B tier. They need some buffs, but like I don't think they're really bad. The Gloogadoodles are still really bad. Funny enough, like throughout this past season from 5.0 up until now, You have seen the Gluga Dualies being played a little bit more, and there are some people that are trying to make them work. So I'm not going to put them in F tier like I used to, because if you are really good with them, you can make them work. I just wish these things had a second kit, and by the time the Gluga Dualies get a second kit, like I said, we'll be on like Splatoon 5. Same thing with like the Bamboozler and a few other weapons. Like, it's taken so long to get some of these weapons to like a second kit, to where they might actually have a chance of being viable with a second kit, to where they're never going to be good at this point. So don't get your hopes up for the Gluga Dualies, because what they really need is another second kit to maybe take advantage of stuff. And I mean, their kit's good right now, but at least for me, I just don't like Splash Wall. Booyah Bomb's great, but Splash Wall on this weapon's pretty bad with how much ink it takes. I just think the Gluga Dualies are really weak to it, and they need some buffs. They got buffed for last season, but the buff didn't really do anything. It just made them a little bit more consistent in medium range with landing shots, but it didn't really matter that much, fortunately. Splat Dualies, I'm going to put an A tier. Average weapon. Overall, it's really solid. You got the Dapple Dualies. I'm going to put these at a B tier just because Tacticooler is really good. They are a weapon that's going to be setting up beacons and Tacticooler, and that's what pretty much your job is. You run in, you try to get a couple kills, and if you die, you got the Tacticooler there to respawn you, and you're able to jump right back to your beacon and get right back out to doing your job. That's pretty much what they are. They're pretty much a respawn simulator weapon. That's pretty much what they do. Dark Tetras, I'll put it in A tier. Kind of fallen off a little bit, but if you know what you're doing, you can kind of make them work. I feel like they're just a little bit kind of lacking. The Carbon Roller's garbage. Got the Dynamo Roller, awful. I think Flingza, I'm going to put it as C tier because it has missiles and it's still pretty good, but man, is this thing falling off. The Flingza, I think, is one of the weapons that's just fallen off the most since the release of the game. During now, from like the release of the game, it's just completely fallen off. Splat Roller, I'll probably put it like a B tier. It can work if you're really good with it. Splatana Wiper, there's no reason to really play this thing. I don't think it's an F tier, but there's no reason to play this one when there's the alternate kit that has 10 missiles and a beacon. Splatana Stamper, this thing, I wouldn't say it's bad, but the problem with the Splatana Stamper now is it has a second kit, which we'll talk about at the end, that pretty much completely outshadows its base kit now, and that's like a million times better. So I wouldn't really even play this one anymore. I don't think it's really C tier. I'll probably put it like I mean, it's still good. I'll probably put it in A tier for average. But like, there's a kit that's better in the game right now that you're just better off playing. I do think the main weapon itself, though, I think needs some type of nerf. But this kit on this one is just outshadowed now. That's why I'm putting it in A tier. But the main weapon itself is incredibly strong. And I think they're going to need to probably end up nerfing it again. Now that they finally gave it an actual kit that's actually incredibly good. Which we'll talk about at the end. Undercover Brella, Throw Pick. If you play this in your ranked games, and if you're like A tier and below, like A rank and below, and you're playing this in your ranked games, like legit uninstall, please. I don't know how many times I load into a match and I see that I got an Undercover Brella on my team, and I'm like, oh, well, this game's going to be an automatic 3v4, and then we end up losing, or getting stomped in 2 minutes because the guy does nothing. Do not play it. Do not play it. Splat Brella, awful. Really, really bad. Tent Brella, really, really bad. You don't want to play this thing at all. Silver Arrow Spray, F tier, Throw Pick. Get it out of here. I got the Splatter Shot Pro. I mean, I'll put this at an A tier. I think it's balanced. And if you really want to play it, like, it's there, but there's nothing crazy about it at all. Splatter Shot Junior, I'll put it a C tier, mainly just because of bubble spam, and that's the only thing you're really going to be picking it for. Squeezer, I think, is still really good. I'm going to put the Squeezer up at S tier. Really, really good. Really good. Trizuka is just great. The main weapon is the thing that carries it, because the weapon itself is just really, really good. And you also pair that with Trizuka, which is pretty much a guaranteed kill. Like, it's a special that you click, and you're guaranteed to get value out of it pretty much every single time with how broken it is. You could argue probably S+ tier too, but I'm going to put it in S tier because you need to kind of know how to play it, but I don't know. You could argue S+ tier too, but I'll keep it in S tier for now. 52 gal, I'll probably put an A tier. Average right now, 96. Got a bit of an inking buff, a little bit more ink efficiency, but this thing's bad. F tier, you're throwing if you're playing the 96 gal. Squelcher, I'll probably put it a C tier. Not too bad. It's okay if you want that kit for that. Splatter shot's incredibly good, going to S+ tier. Incredibly good. Got the Splash-O-Matic, still really good. I'm gonna put it an S or an A+ tier. Still really good. Not as good as the one the game released, but it's still incredibly good. NZAP 85, really good. And I think the main thing that's actually, I'm gonna put S+ tier. The main thing that's carrying this weapon is Tacticooler. This is the best farming Tacticooler weapon in the game. The 3 best specials right now that are in the game are Trizooka, Tacticooler, and then like the third one's usually like, I think it's like Inkjet. There's a few other, 1 or 2 other ones you could probably say that kind of tie out for a 3, but kind of the main 2 in the game right now that are still really dominant. And the 2 new specials they added with the triple ink strike and the splatter shot wall or the Splattercolor wall, they just aren't really that good. Like I think the triple ink strike is better than the Splattercolor wall, but they aren't really game-changing specials, and I don't think they're going to be top tier, like must-pick specials. And especially with how limited kits we only have 2 weapons each that actually have those right now, so it's kind of difficult to actually pick those. Sploosh, throw pick. H3, throw pick. L3, nozzle nose, throw pick. Blobber can work, but I'm going to put it a B tier because it's more situational. Got the Tri-Slosher. This thing has Inkjet. I'll put it in A+ tier. Pretty solid, because it's one of the few Inkjet weapons. Got the Sloshing Machine. I'm putting the Sloshing Machine up in S tier. I think Sloshing Machine is really good right now. If you guys aren't playing the Sloshing Machine, play it. It's incredibly good. Same with the Slosher. I think the Slosher and the Sloshing Machine are the 2 best sloshers in the entire game. If you want a slosher, these are the 2 you're going to be looking at. They're both incredibly good. The machine's a little bit slower. It's kind of more of a slower weapon to kind of farm with, but if you want something a little bit faster paced, the Slosher's a little bit more faster paced, but they're both incredibly good. Explosion, I'll put an A tier, kind of as average as a backline weapon. I think the ballpoint's still incredibly good. I'll put an A+ tier. You're not seeing it as much because there's a lot more backline weapons being added to the game recently, but I think it's still really good. Hydra, I don't know why you play this thing. I mean, it got buffed, but like at the same time, I still don't know why you play this thing over like some of the other backlines in the game, or even like a Charger. I don't know. I'll put it in like a C tier. I don't think it's low. It's D tier or lower, but it's just outshadowed by a lot of the other backlines in the game, even with the buffs. Mini, garbage. Nautilus is actually really good. I'm putting Nautilus in S tier. Incredibly good. The Hydra. I'll put the Hydra at like a B tier. Wavebreaker just really isn't the greatest right now. So the one thing that's kind of holding it back. You got the Tri-String Bow. If you want a really solid backline, I think the Tri-String Bow, it's normal kit that is actually probably the best one. Got the Reflux 450. Man, if this was a Turf War tier list, I'd probably put this thing at like S+ tier. But being that this is actually like a ranked tier list with no Turf War, it's not good. I'll put it at D tier because it's missile spam, but apart from that, it doesn't do anything. Luna Blaster Neo. I think this thing has potential. I think its main mode is usually towers. It's decent in towers. I think if you want to play one of the Luna Blaster, I think it's probably the best one. I'll put it like a B tier, but you gotta really know what you're doing. Like, I can make it work because it's one of my favorite weapons to use, but it's not really the crazy good. And Stamp is just still really awful for it. It's just a bad special. We got the Ink Brush Nanovo. I don't know. I mean, I'll put it at D tier, but I probably put it in F tier, actually. I don't think it's that good. The kit's garbage. Sniper Raider 5H. This is going right on up into S tier. This is probably one of the best backlines right now, and the main thing with it is it's probably the one best backline that gets Tacticooler. This is probably one of the weapons in the game, too, that went from being like absolute fucking garbage on release to having like a slow rise to being probably one of the best weapons in the game. It's really weird how this thing worked. It went from being garbage to being great. I don't know. If you're playing the Sniper Raider, you guys are doing really well. You guys are eating good. And I think the main reason why is just because Tacticooler is just so busted and it never got changed. That's the one thing that's kind of carrying the weapon, at least for a backline, because there's no other really backline weapons. Apart from like the heavy edit Splatline that get Tacticooler. We got the Dapple Nonavo. This thing sucks. I'm sorry. Now that triple ink strike is in the, or not triple ink, triple splashdown is in the game. Reef Slider is probably the worst special in the game, alongside Splatcolor wall or Splattercolor wall. So like, there's just no reason to play this thing at all. I'm sorry, it's garbage. Even me, like I play this thing a lot. Like I play the Dapples a lot, and like there's just no reason to play them, especially when you got the Imperi Splat Dualies being added, which pretty much do the job of these pretty much 10 times better. It has a better alt, and it also has a more synergistic, at least like movement sub. Curling Bomb ain't crazy good, but at least goes really well with what it's trying to do. Carbon Roller, this thing's really, really good. I'm putting S tier. Carbon Roller Deco, really, really good. A Big Swig Roller, the normal one's garbage. You got the Gold Arrow Spray, Booyah Bomb Spam, and that's about all this thing does. Borderline Throw Pick. Got the Splatter Shot Pro. I mean, I'll put an A tier alongside the other one. They're both pretty much the same right now, the regular one and the other one. Got the Custom Junior. I'll put it in the C tier, but the only thing this thing does is just farm Wave Breaker, and Wave Breaker is pretty damn weak right now, so like that doesn't really do much. Got the T-Tech Splatter Shot going right on up into S tier. Going right on up into S tier. Crazy good. Still really, really, really good. Got the Splatter, I think that's a Splatter Shot Nova. Garbage. F tier. You got the Slosher Deco. I'll put the Slosher Deco probably like a C tier. I mean, it's just outshadowed by the other Slosh. Like, there's just no reason to play this one over the other one. It's the main problem. Got the Zinc Mini. F tier. I just don't think it's that good. I do not, and I don't even remember the last time I seen a Zinc Mini in one of my matches. I really do not. Let alone even seeing it in my games. Clash Blaster Neo, man, did they do this thing bad. Holy fuck, is that one of the worst weapons in the game. We got the Zeko Firefin Splat Chargers. I mean, I'll put those up into S tier. I think they're alongside the other Splat Chargers. We got the Zinc, I think it's the Zinc Carbon, or the Kraken Splat Roller. I don't know. I mean, this thing's pretty bad. I think the only thing the reason why you're playing this is for the special, which is Kraken. I think there's a lot more better Kraken options in the game now. I'll put it like a D tier because I don't think it's an F tier worthy, but it's not really that good. 96 Gal Deco. I mean, for Kraken, it ain't too bad. I'll put it like a B tier because it's one of the better Kraken weapons in the game. Custom Jet Squelcher. I'd probably put like a B tier. Splash Neo. I put like an A plus tier. Both of the Splash Matics right now are kind of about beside each other, just which one you want and what you're trying to run. Either you're farming Crab Tank the entire game, or you're farming Triple Ink Strike. It's either one. And Zap 89, this thing has Super Chump. Super Chump is one of the worst specials in the game too. I think Super Chump's probably like the third worst special in the game right now currently. It's really bad. It's awful. Splash Neo, I'll put that in F tier, garbage. Got the Cherry L3 D tier. The Tri-Slosher Nonavo. I'm putting up with the Tri-Slosher. This one's gonna probably go in S tier just because it has Tacticaler, and it is being played a lot. It did get nerfed with the special points, I think, for last season, but you're still seeing it played a lot, and it's still one of the better Tacticaler weapons if you don't want to run one in like a backline or one of those. S-Blast 92. There's no reason to play this thing now. The S-Blast 92, with the introduction of the S-Blast 91, and probably one of the best kits I could have ever asked for that weapon, completely outshadows the S-Blast 92 now, and makes it pretty much irrelevant. There is no reason to play this one over the S-Blast 91, with the other one having Booyah Bomb and Burst Bomb, or whatever it is. So there's no reason to play this. And Reef Slider is also probably the worst special in the entire game. One of the worst ones. Paintbrush. Same thing with Paintbrush. Paintbrush is going to F tier, just because there's no reason now to play this when the Paintbrush Nonavo is added to the game and has a way better kit for it. Still a really solid main weapon, but like it's just outshadowed. I wouldn't say it's really a throw pick, but there's just no reason to play it at all. That's why I'm putting it in F tier. There's just no, it's not even almost useless. It's pretty much useless. Custom Dually Squelchers, I would not play these at all. They're borderline useless. Garbage special, and they don't really do anything. We got the Light Tetra Dualies. And I'll put them in A tier alongside the other ones. It's kind of just whatever you want right now. They're both kind of the same. Big Swig Roller Express. This thing's solid. I'll put it in A tier. You're not really seeing it played too much, but when you do see it played in like zones, it's crazy good in zones. We got the Splatoon Wiper Deco. I think this thing's pretty solid. I'll put it in A tier, just mainly because of its kit. It has a really solid kit. 10. I think that's the. I don't know. I think it's the 10, not the Tensorella Umbrella or the. I forgot what it actually is. I mean, I haven't seen it in so long, and nobody ever plays it. I mean, I wouldn't put it in F tier because its kit's decent because it does have the Trizuka and a few other things, but D tier, I'll throw it there. If you do want to play a Tensorella, there you go. That's probably the only one you'll be able to play and maybe get away with, but even then, it's just so bad. We got the Anarchy Splattershot Nova, garbage. They nerfed this weapon, and the one thing this weapon did was farm inkjet, and then they nerfed that. So it's pretty much, it has no use. There's no reason to play it at all. Cherry H, or I think that's Cherry L3 or H3. The L3 is up here. This is Cherry H3. Garbage. The Heavy Splatling Deco. I'll put this probably in A tier. Pretty solid. It's one of the better Kraken weapons in the game, so it ain't too bad. Octobrush Nonivo. Probably like a D tier. I don't know. Custom Goo Tuber, garbage. The Gold Dynamo, man, did people wish this thing was good. And then they gave it Splat Bomb, but then they gave it a garbage special, so it's bad. It's really, really bad. I'll put an F tier, unfortunately. If you want to play Umbrella, it's probably the best one. I mean, it's not crazy, but the kit's just so good. That's what's pretty much carrying this thing. The main weapon's still pretty bad, but its kit's so good and has inkjet, and it's still really, really solid if you do want to play it, at least for the Umbrella class. Got the Blobber Deco. I don't see this thing being played. I think you're just better off with a normal Blobber, if I'm being real, just because I think Ink Storm is a lot better on this thing than Kraken is. I really do. I'm gonna put it in S or a D tier, just because it has a Kraken weapon. You can play it for that, but apart from that, I wouldn't play it at all. Got the I forgot what this. I haven't even seen this thing being played at all. I have not seen this thing or the I don't know. I'm having a brain fart with this actually. I forgot what this weapon's actually called. They added it last season. And I already forgot what it's actually called because nobody actually plays this thing. That is how bad it actually is. D tier. Or the Dread Ringer. The Dread Ringer is what it is. I was having a brain fart. It just goes to show you like how bad it is. I do not see anybody playing this thing at all, and that's how bad it is. I think it has potential, but nobody wants to learn it at all. And there's no reason to play this when the Sloshing Machine and the regular Slosher are in the game, and they're just way easier to play. Just way better weapons. Neo Sloshing Machine, F tier. There's no reason to use this one over the regular Sloshing Machine at all. Same with the other ballpoint, the custom ballpoint. And you got the custom Tri-Stringer. Garbage. Probably one of the worst kits you could have ever got for that thing. As a second kit, I feel bad for you guys that do play that weapon. And you got the heavy-headed Splatling, which it did get buffed. I think this thing is still incredibly good. I'm gonna put it at like an S tier. I think the heavy-headed Splatling is incredibly good. If you want a backline weapon with the Tacticooler, I think that the heavy-headed Splatling is what you want to be picking. And it also got buffed. It paints better, so you're able to get your special even faster now. And it was actually already a really incredibly good special, or an incredibly good weapon when it was first released last season. It kind of dropped off in usage like halfway through the season. Now people are starting to pick it up again. And then it got buffed. So I think you're going to be seeing it a lot more in your games. Especially for like a Splatling. I think it's probably the best one in the game right now if you want to run like a Splatling backline weapon. I think at least for like backlines, like you're still running the Chargers. And like the most common ones, usually like the Sniper Rider or even like the heavy edit. And once in a while you'll see some splatlings, like the heavy splatling deco and a few of the other ones. And you'll run into like a Splosher or like a Tri-String once in a while, but it's what the most common stuff you're going to be seeing. There you have it, everybody. That is the list of all the weapons apart from the new weapons we have in the game right now. We're going to come back to this. Now, pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over. I'm going to throw some, I should have some gameplay in the back for you guys right now, but I'm going to throw on screen pretty much all the kits that we currently have, and I'm going to probably put the rankings beside the kits. So they aren't going to be like on the actual tier list along with all the other weapons, but just imagine that they were there because, like I said, they did not update the tier list for 6.00. So I'm kind of have to just throw this on screen for you guys. I'm going to talk about each one of these weapons. It shows all their kits here and everything, which should be on screen for you guys right now, and kind of what the ranking I would give them on the list. We're going to talk about these real quick. Starting off with the foil squeezer. Now, they actually added a new special to the game called Splattercolor wall. Pretty much what it does is it's a slow-moving wall that if you go through it, you take, I think, like 30 damage. And pretty much what it does, it makes your screen monocolor, like black and white. But at the same time, you can easily cheese this with, like, color lock, which is in the settings, to make it pretty much irrelevant. And it's still really, really easy to tell which ink is yours and which ink is the enemy team's ink, and like who's on the enemy team and on your team. So the problem with this special, and the reason why I think it's probably the top 3 worst specials in the game, is it just doesn't do anything. The Splattercolor wall is probably one of the worst new specials I think we've gotten, at least for the entirety of the game so far. It just doesn't do anything. They need some major buffs for the Splattercolor wall. Now, that being said, if you do want to use the Splattercolor wall, the best weapon to use it on is the foil squeezer, but this entire kit's being carried by the weapon itself, which is the foil squeezer, which is a great main weapon. You have a special that's there, but it just doesn't do anything. I think the only thing this actually does is block off line of sight for like backline weapons. With how slow it moves, you're just able to rotate to like a different angle anyways most of the time before it even does anything to you. So it's pretty much irrelevant. It's kind of a special that's just there and just doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything to enemy team. You just throw it out, and then that's pretty much what it does. And you're lucky to you can maybe try to play around a little bit and get a kill here and there, and that's about all you can really get out of it most of the time. It's pretty bad. Really bad special. Top 3 worst in the game, unfortunately. I put it in A tier though. Foil squeezer, probably A tier. And we got the custom blaster. Now, this is actually one of my favorite weapons in the game. I was hoping they would give this thing back inkjet like they had in Splatoon 2. Unfortunately, they did not. The problem with this is the custom blaster gets outshadowed by the regular blaster in towers. I think what you're going to be running is, if you want to run like a blaster in towers, you're going to be picking the regular blaster. And if you want to play the blaster in like all the other modes, I think the better one is probably the custom blaster. The only downside of this weapon or this kit is that point sensor is pretty much useless. It just doesn't really do anything. Like, it's good on ink and that type of thing, but like, you don't really need it, and it would prefer having like any other sub in the game. It really would. Even like a sprinkler would have been better. I would have rather had a sprinkler on this thing. Even then, you'd be able to just farm for your special a lot faster. So, and then you also have the brand new special, which is actually a reworked Splashdown called Triple Splashdown, which is actually pretty good. I think it's actually one of the more like middle tier type specials in the game, kind of alongside like a Killer Whale and that type of thing. I don't know, I'd probably put the custom blaster like a C tier, just mainly because you're only going to be using it in like other modes that you're not going to really be using the blaster in. It's not really the craziest. Then we got the S-Blast 91. This thing has Burst Bomb, Booyah Bomb. I know I said back a while back in some of my past tier list videos that once they give the S-Blast like an actual good kit, this thing's going to be crazy. I'm throwing it right into S tier. Crazy good. The reason why I'm not putting it in S plus tier is because you need to actually learn how to actually play the weapon. It is kind of brain dead, at least like the close range, where it's just a huge blast radius. But if you don't know what you're doing, you just get stomped. So that's kind of the only thing that's kind of preventing it from being like an S plus tier. But once people start playing the shit out of this and start learning the S-Blast now, which people are going to start doing because as a kid that actually wants you to play and actually worth sinking your time into actually learning now, not a shitty kid that has Sprinkler Re-Slider like before. You're going to see people starting to play this and getting really good at it, and then you might actually end up having to nerf the main weapon or something about it. So, But Burst Bomb, Booyah Bomb's great for this weapon. S tier for sure. Then you got the Paintbrush Nanival. This thing has Tenta Missiles and Point Sensor. I'd probably put this in A+ tier. If you guys are not playing the Paintbrush, you guys are sleeping on the Paintbrush. Incredibly good paint, really solid range, really good damage. The only drawback is it's kind of slow, so you kind of have to position yourself properly. And you kind of get dove a little bit easy by certain things. But if you know what you're doing and you can kind of pay attention, just have like simple game awareness, especially in like your S to S+ tier games, you can easily carry games with the Paintbrush, especially with this kit. Tenta Missiles is really good on this thing, and Point Sensor is also really helpful, so you don't get dove. That way, you also know where everybody is at most of the time. Because the problem with the regular Paintbrush is people would be able to jump on you and just kind of dive on you because they would be able to get the jump on you. You didn't know where they were. And with Point Sensor, you don't have to really worry about that anymore. So, you got the Sniper Raider 5B. I'd throw that into B tier. It has the Splash Wall and the Ink Storm, but the problem is you have the Sniper Raider 5H, which just has a way better kit right now. There's no reason to really play the Sniper Raider 5B over the 5H. Not going to talk about it very much else. Got the Imperi Splat Dualies. I put the Imperi Splat Dualies into S tier. If you want a really aggressive, like Slayer type dualies right now, I think the Imperi Splat Dualies are the best ones in the game to do that now. They have a really solid kit. The Curling Bomb ain't the greatest, but for mobility purposes, it helps this weapon a lot. And you can run this with like a quick respawn build, or like just like a full all charge build, like with Special Saver and Special Charge, and just run at people and just charge your triple Splashdown, just farm for ult and be really, really aggressive. And that's what these are going to really be doing. I throw them into S tier 100%. I think they're the best, like, more aggressive dualies in the game right now. Undercover Sorella Barella, this thing's garbage. Has Splattercolor, Wheat Screen, and Torpedo. F tier, you're never going to be seeing this thing apart from like Turf War. Same with the Reflux 450 Deco. They gave this thing probably one of the worst kits in the entire game. The only thing you can do with this thing is Reef Slider, Zone Cheese. And if you're picking a weapon just to cheese the zone every single time you can farm it, you're picking the weapon for the wrong reasons. And even then, you're not really doing anything. You're not providing any other utility to your team, which makes it pretty much useless apart from your special. So, F tier for sure. And then last but not least, we got the Splatana Stamper Neo. This thing probably has the best kit you could have ever asked for this thing. Toxic Mist Crab Tank, and it's one of the first Crab Tank weapons we've gotten in like at least 3 seasons. 100% S+ tier. This thing's crazy. You're going to be seeing the Splatana Stamper Neo in like a lot of your games going forward, especially in like your higher tier games. Once you get into like your mid tier, high tier, X rank games, it's just incredibly good. All you need to do with this thing is just throw a Toxic Mist onto somebody. You slow them down, and you're able to dive on them with a charge slash and just one-shot somebody. That's the combo for this thing. And then you just charge up your Crab Tank, and you have a medium to long range Crab Tank every once in a while to throw out. Granted, I think it's like 210p, but even then, you can kind of make your gear build to kind of sustain that with some more like Special Save or even like Special Charge Up sometimes. So I do think that the Splatana Stamper itself, at least like a main weapon, is going to end up needing some type of nerf going forward. I really do, but as of right now, we'll see how it goes, but I do think S+ tier is a solid place for it. Probably one of the best weapons in the game. And there you have it, everybody. That is the 6.00 chill season weapons tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Keep in mind, it's also 100% opinionated, so if you guys do not agree with me on something, let me know why in the comments down below. Or if you guys want to let me know your guys' own list, feel free to as well. Hope you guys enjoyed. Apart from that, I'm going to get out of here. I got a bunch more stuff on the way if you guys like Splatoon 3 content and a bunch of other stuff. Overwatch 2, Apex Legends. We got Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Indigo Disc here in the next 2 weeks going to be dropping. Got a bunch of that content going to be dropping on the channel. If you guys don't want to miss that, subscribe. Leave a like if you enjoyed and share the video. It really helps out the channel. Apart from that, I'm going to get out of here. Peace out, everybody.